Okay. Ooh. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Getting the live stream started, y'all. Give me just a second here. There we go, Facebook event. Healing, an essential tool in every spiritual life coach's toolbox. Copy, and then paste that baby right here. And copy and paste that baby right there. Share to my group, League of Badass Butterflies. Yes, going live. And right on time. Excellent. Let's see, let me make sure. Okay, still working. Yes, it is good. Okay. All right, friends, so welcome to the live stream. It's Crystalline Bell here, and today we are talking about what's in your spiritual life coach's toolbox. And this is a subject you probably know a lot about. I'm going to give you my own special take on it, give you my perspective. But I also welcome your perspectives in the comments. So thank you. Rebecca is here with me. Hi, Rebecca. I want to also remind you that you have exactly 24 hours left to save $152 on the Shadow Work Masterclass. So if you've not signed up for that yet, on December 7th, that's tomorrow, the price goes up to the original price of $250. So it's $98 for today. This is a 3-hour masterclass, and I'm going to be teaching you how to do shadow work and light work. All right. So this month, December, which is actually one of my most favorite months out of the year. I love December and November. I also like October and September. I like August and July. Okay, I like all the months, but I do have a special fondness for December and the holiday season. I like Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving to New Year's is kind of my jam, okay? With that being said, because you really needed to know Crystalline's jam, all right? But with that being said, this month in the League of Badass Butterflies, my Facebook group, we're going to be talking about the really essential tools that you need in your toolbox if you're going to be an effective spiritual life coach. And these tools are about helping you create incredible transformation in your clients, okay? And it's really important to remember that the success of your clients and really actually our personal success as life coaches is solely dependent on our ability to create big change in the lives of our clients. Small change is very helpful, okay? Small changes is really helpful. Incremental changes is really helpful. But small incremental changes can be done through videos like YouTube videos for free, blog posts, writing a book, reading a book. Your clients can make small incremental changes on their own. Small changes is not going to inspire anyone to pay you hundreds of dollars, let alone thousands of dollars for your transformation and your services. However, big changes will inspire people to want to invest with you, okay? And you as a as a spiritual life coach, you deserve success. You're setting up your business. You need to run it like a business, and you want to be able to take care of yourself and your family, and you want to be able to contribute to your community. You want to be able to donate to charity. You want to build schools, okay? You want to fund people, all right? You need to be financially successful in order to do that. So your business needs to rock. Now, so, and I guess it's important to kind of just spell this out, that your business really is the key to your lifestyle, and also having time, wealth, and financial freedom. That's the job of your business. So being good at what you do is really important, okay? Now, I think it's also important to remember that as a spiritual life coach, you're not a therapist. You're not there to you're not there just to listen and let your clients take themselves on a journey. A life coach is there to teach your client how to fish. And when you teach them how to fish, you teach them how to catch big fish, not just little fish with a net. Like, nobody's trying to get you to teach them how to catch little fish. They want you to teach them how to catch the big marlin, right? That's your job. We're objectives oriented, okay? We help our clients go from point A to point B. We teach them how to get there. And our job is to provide them with the tools and the resources they need to be successful. So we're not therapists, and we are not healers. That is not our job. Okay, but we use healing, okay, and we might do some therapy stuff, okay, we might do some healing techniques, but ultimately those things can create a shift in energy, but they aren't meant to actually transform your client, because a transformation requires your client to do something in their mind and then to take action on that day after day after day. That's what we do as life coaches. That's our job, okay? I used to say that I want to coach myself out of a job, but actually my clients never wanted me to coach them out of a job. They actually, my clients like working with me long-term, which is really, really wonderful. But I want to make sure that there's no codependency, right? And there's not. My clients are just like, look, I want to go higher. I want to go to the next level. I'm ready for the next level. And that's what we do. Yeah. And so that means that they get to hang out with me for a while. Okay. So I want to check in with you all, and I want to see who's here with me today. Is it going to be just a small group today? Because maybe it's just going to be a small group. If you're here, please comment live, #live, okay? Also, it helps a lot if you all give this video a thumbs up or give us some love. I personally like all the confetti drops. That's really inspiring for me. But if you're watching the replay, also just in the comments, type replay. Also keep in mind, as I'm going through today's topic, if you have any questions, please type your questions into the comments, and I will be more than happy to respond to those. It's I like going back and responding to them. You all make me think, and that is really good. All right. Now, last week, we kicked off this toolbox method, this toolbox idea with shadow work, okay? And I said that shadow work is the most important tool in your toolbox. And I stand by that. I still say that it's really important, okay? But the other things that we're going to talk about today and then next week as well, those things are also really important. And today, our focus is on healing. And I would say that it's the second most important tool in your toolbox, okay? Today, I'm going to give you 3 really important healing techniques that I think every spiritual life coach should know. And even if you don't know my techniques, like these particular techniques, maybe you won't study them, but bringing in something like them is definitely essential, because as a spiritual life coach, each of these 3 things addresses a specific condition. And well, that's not altogether true. They can be used for many different conditions, but they're really good with some very important specific conditions. So let's see. Right now, if you're watching this video, you probably are a new or an aspiring spiritual life coach. And if you have been coaching for a while, you probably are needing some help with kind of expanding and becoming more successful in your business, okay? One thing that's true about everyone in this is that you probably have a love for humanity, and you probably have a lot of compassion for people who have gone through difficult experiences, they've gone through hard times, they've struggled. And I'm right there with you, okay? My passion is helping people overcome hardships, whether it's the hardships of learning how to run your business and finding yourself being successful, like, dealing with your own inner space that's holding you back, or helping you in relationships, or helping you overcome trauma, helping you overcome unworthiness. All right, all the different ways that those things can show up in your life. That's my passion. And personally, I became a life coach because I was watching people struggle, and I realized that I had solutions that they could apply to their lives that would bring them incredible improvement. Like, I knew that I could help people. And I particularly knew that the things that I knew and could see intuitively, and the experiences that I had gone through, I knew that they would be of service to other people. And I wanted to turn those past experiences and my own ideas into skills and tools that would actually really help people on a profound level. And that's what I started creating as I got educated in this work, okay, as I got certified. And if you're watching me and you're in my league of badass butterflies, you know that I'm constantly, every week, I'm bringing you something to help educate you about being a spiritual life coach. Last week, we did the session about, the first tool in your toolbox, and I talked to you about shadow work. And I said it was the most important thing. And I'm going to stand by that very strongly, okay? Because shadow work helped me in my own personal life, but I watch it every day as I'm working with clients, and they are awakening and pulling themselves out of their old prisons because of shadow work, okay? And really, my own success, the success that I have, which is really monumental considering everything that I've gone through, everything that I've gone through in my mind, the things that I've overcome in my mind, shadow work is powerful. So I I want you to rewatch. I want you to watch the replay if you've not actually seen last week's video, but watch it, okay, and learn about shadow work. And of course, come and join me for the masterclass so that you can actually learn my shadow work techniques. All right. Now, healing, which is the topic for today, we all have different ideas of what healing is, okay? And actually, I would love for you to, in the comments, I would love for you to type in and let me know what your definition of healing is, okay? I have my definition. And look, here's the thing, there are no right or wrong answers. I'm going to tell you my perspective, and it's how I use healing for myself and how I use healing for my clients. And this is the beauty of being a spiritual life coach. You are creating your coaching system and you are giving the meaning to the words and the terms that you use, okay? So, because we all have different meanings and they all are, spirit is working through us. And yeah, that's really what I want to say. Spirit is working through us. So we're having different experiences of healing personally, and that's what you need to bring to your coaching business, okay? One thing though that I would say that healing is about a shift in a state. Something is weak or broken or traumatized or unharmonious. And healing means that it can be corrected or changed and moved into a state that is harmonious, that is at peace or in balance, okay? Let me see if anyone's with me and if I've gotten any definitions of healing. Hey, Nicole is here. Good morning, Nicole. Good afternoon here. It's already 4:45. Hey, Michelle, it's so good to see you. Michelle says, Crystal, thank you for this. As I was trying to distract myself from twin flame obsessing. That's a thing if you travel that spiritual journey. Nicole says, my current definition of healing is that it's the process of revealing a greater version of yourself that had been previously suppressed through traumatic experiences. Ooh, Nicole, I just love that. That is really rich, really vibrant. And I would also say that that feels true. My system really loves that definition. Gorgeous. Michelle says, being my authentic and extremely vulnerable self and being entirely honest about it with my higher self, with passion and inner standing. And that's sweet, Michelle. I really like that too. I especially like the authenticity and the vulnerability. And that to me feels like an opportunity. That feels like an opportunity to work with yourself, okay? And to, you know, the whole self-healing is the thing that's coming up for me as I'm reading your definition. It definitely resonates with me. Now, healing can come to us in many different ways, right? Gosh, it can be spontaneous. You can get healed by watching a movie. You can get healed by reading a passage in a book. Someone can look at you and you can experience healing. You know, somebody can say the right words to you and you can experience healing. So healing can come in different forms, and even shadow work is extremely healing. But with shadow work, healing is done through an active engagement with the mind. And that's the difference between shadow work and healing. Healing tends to be more feminine, more circular, more cyclical, energetic, more subtle, more obscure, more mysterious. Shadow work, the reason why we like shadow work is because it's not mysterious. Like our conscious mind is like, hey, I get to see this. I get to see what's happening in my subconscious mind. Okay. So shadow work is probably a little more masculine in the approach to healing. And healing itself is more feminine. It's in the mystery. Okay. And healing is also usually pretty mentally indirect. It's, like if I sit here and I make a decision that I'm going to heal my experience of unworthiness, and I tuck in with my mind, what can happen is the mind can become a tyrant, and the mind can become very much dominating. And we know the mind is masculine. The conscious mind we put in the realm of the masculine. All right. So we want to move away from that. So as a coach, okay, you have these tools in your toolbox, and we want shadow work in there. Okay, we want it in there, and it's a masculine approach, and it's going to appeal. I've never had a single client, and I've seen hundreds of clients. I've never had anyone reject shadow work. I've never had anybody like, oh, that doesn't resonate with me. What are we doing? This doesn't work for me. I've never had anybody say anything like that. So that kind of, but understanding that shadow work is masculine. Healing stuff tends to be much more feminine. Okay, it's more indirect, it's mysterious, it's less understandable, it's less measurable. Okay, and you cannot even necessarily see the results of healing. You can feel them, but that again is feminine. That's the nature of the feminine. Oh, I can feel the difference. Okay, so we're going to be talking about 3 different types of healing today. And the first healing style or method that I'm going to share with you is based on helping your inner child, and it's called the completion process. Now, this is a process that was created by Teal Swan. If you don't know Teal, I suggest you read her book, The Completion Process. I definitely recommend you read this book and you learn the process. I don't, if you're a brand new healer, whether you're an advanced healer, I definitely think this book belongs and this process belongs in your repertoire of healing processes because number one, it's super effective. Number two, it's super accessible. Those are the 2 reasons. So let me, if you all know who Teal Swan is, type me a note in the comments. And look, Teal is a very controversial figure. But I knew her before she was controversial. No, wrong. I started studying with her before she was controversial. I recognized the depth of the controversy that was there when I started working with her physically. Look, don't go for the controversy. Don't go into the cult. She's a beautiful woman and people tend to get mesmerized by her. She's charismatic. And don't do that to her, and don't do that to yourself. Don't look for a cult leader. Just go take the information and then step back and live your own life. All right. I have to give this disclaimer with Teal because she on fire. They've got a documentary that came out about her this summer, and it is not cool. But it doesn't change the fact that she has a lot of good stuff that she offers for those of us who are wise enough to separate ourselves from the person. Okay. So there's my disclaimer. All right. So let's talk about the inner child. The inner child is an aspect of us that is still youthful and still alive and still functioning in our brain. Okay. Our inner child is connected to our early life. Okay. And there are many different ways to kind of think about the inner child, just like there are many different ways to think about healing. All right. And you want to, for yourself as a life coach, you definitely want to do some work around the inner child. You want to be able to deal with the inner child of your clients. You want to know some things about the inner child. You want to educate yourself about the inner child. Okay. And you can get, my relationship with the inner child is very complex, but today I want to just give you a very simplistic understanding of inner child work. Basically, it's you had a childhood, and there are active memories and active experiences that are still, they're active in your mind right now, okay? Anything that was unresolved, like any trauma that you experienced in your childhood that was unresolved, is still activated, or it's dormant. And when things in your adult life happen, it fires off a trigger and awakens the pained inner child. Okay, and this is when it's a problem. All right, when the pained inner child or the traumatized inner child is awakened, this is a problem. Your happy inner child can also be awakened. When you're triggered, like you are, you smell cookies, okay? Or, you drive up to your grandmother's house and you see the address and you see the rose bushes, and like those happy memories are triggered. Your inner child is there, but that's the happy inner child. The one that needs wounding is the traumatized inner child, okay? And that's the one that we're talking about. So your inner child that's traumatized can show up in your body as pain, tension, disease, feelings of depression, like your moods, like feeling stuck, feeling held back, feeling like you're trapped in something. And the more familiar this negative feeling, the older it is. So old beliefs, old ideas, old thought patterns are usually connected to your inner child. Those things originated in some level in your innocent inner child self. Okay. So as an adult, you're trying to move forward in your life, and you're trying to be in a relationship. You're trying to feel confident about yourself. You're trying to move forward in your business. You're trying to build an income. You're trying to write a book. You're trying to help your clients. Okay. You're trying to raise children. You're trying to do all sorts of things. You're trying to lose weight. You're trying to eat right. You're trying to fit in. Okay. And when you come up with resistance and triggers and feelings that don't let you move forward, okay, you're coming upon these self-sabotaging roadblocks, okay? These are, this is awareness of you. This is your inner child waking you up to her presence, okay? So for example, let's say that you say, I'm gonna write a book, okay? I'm gonna write a book. And you start writing, and it feels great to be writing this book until you get to page 10, all right? All of a sudden, you sit down to write, and all these other days you've been writing with no problem, but today your enthusiasm collapses. All of a sudden, writing the book is not fun, okay? Your writing is starting to feel tedious. You're confused. You're reaching for comfort food. You're reaching for escape. You want to go search Facebook, okay? You want to go look up crazy stuff like, how do you get rid of toenail fungus? You don't even have toenail fungus. You're just like, I want to look this up for Aunt Betsy, all right? These are the kinds of things we do, okay? So with a little internal exploration, it doesn't take much. You just have to be willing to go there, okay? You might remember something from your early childhood that is blocking you from being able to sit down and continue writing on your book. For example, you might remember being humiliated in the 3rd grade because you had difficulty writing, or maybe it was even earlier. Maybe when you were learning how to write and form letters, and then you had to put those letters together, maybe it was a reading wound that is blocking your writing, okay? It could be anything, but you have to pause and ask your system to reveal itself. And this is what the completion process is really great for helping you do, okay? So you're an adult and you're trying to write this book, and these feelings of inadequacy are coming up and they're making you really uncomfortable. So you're trying to escape. And yeah, so in the completion process book, which I do recommend you read, Teal gives you her entire formula for healing your inner child. And so what I recommend for you all is that you get the book, learn it for yourself, and if you find that you really like it and you're passionate about it, you can actually go and study with Teal in her institute and actually learn and get certified to be a practitioner. That's what I did. I got certified. I think I was in the 2nd group of students back in 2015. And it was a great experience. It was super powerful. It was also really hard. It was really emotionally like that was the biggest emotional breakdowns and breakthroughs that I ever experienced. I had Teal actually do the completion process on me. And yeah, I went there. I went there. Anyway, you can go and get certified through Teal, and then that way you can say, I am a certified completion process practitioner, and people will come to see you for that, okay? You can also, if you don't want to get certified with her, you can certainly read the book and then integrate what you've learned into your own coach's toolbox. And I love that. This is what we do most of the time. And so, yeah, this is a great process. It's a game changer, and it's super effective. Your clients absolutely go crazy for this process. There is so much love that comes through them for themselves, for their inner child. And there's so much redemption, and it's the thing. Yeah. it's super powerful. So you will enjoy that for sure. Okay. Are you all familiar with the completion process? And let me check in with you all here on Facebook too. I'm going to refresh my screen. And Lydia, I'm so glad that you joined me here live. Thank you so much, darling. It's always good to see you, even though I don't see you, but I know it's good to know that you're here. Let's see. Yes. Yes, psychology based, embracing your inner child, loving yourself. Michelle says, I love her. I listen to her often. Her indigenous connections are amazing. Yeah, yes, ma'am. That is very, very powerful. It's amazing how our inner children are connected to our ancestors, to our spirit guides. There's so much that happens with our inner child. They are so powerful. Nicole says, yes, her book, Sculptor in the Sky, is amazing too. Yes, Nicole is speaking about Teal's book, Sculptor in the Sky. No cult behaviors, take what you like and leave the rest. Yes, thank you. So Nicole says, out of curiosity, can one still have inner children into the later teenage and early 20s years, or is it all tied to sub six-ish year old experiences? That's a really good question, Nicole. So your inner child is, your inner child can be any age, okay? Any age, up until, look, okay, this is gonna sound really weird. So I'm gonna answer this question in two parts. Your inner child can be up until age 18, okay? We can consider that up until age 18 inner child, but the same rules and the same way of working apply to people, to those aspects of yourself that are 18 and over. So many women have gone through huge traumas in adulthood, right? Being raped, going through divorce, all right, losing a child, so many, okay? So no, you don't call those inner children, but it's the same concept. There's a part of yourself that is still stuck on something and it needs to be rescued. So I rescue my adult self all the time. That's a part of my practice where something happened and it wasn't resolved, and I got to go back and deal with the adult self. Now, Teal would say that between age 0 to age 7 years, all the trauma that happened, or all the trauma that you are experiencing beyond 7 years old, is or originated in age 0 to age 7. So what I like to do, so I'm always, as a practitioner, I'm always trying to get my clients to go back to the earliest memory. The earliest is the original. Like if we can get to that original, that's like getting to the root of the weed in your garden. If you can get to that core weed and pull that out, then the whole weed system dies off, okay? But if you snip if you snip the surface, you're not actually getting to the problem. So our work is to try to get to the core issue. But it helps a lot when you can go and hang out with your old adult self. You know, I'm 52 years old. If there was something that I experienced when I was 49 years old, and I go and I hang out with that self, that self is really, really, really happy. They're like, yeah, thank you so much for showing up here for me. I feel alone right now. I'm glad you're here. And that can allow that aspect of myself to move on. So thank you. That was a great question, Nicole. Michelle says, my inner child is with me for eternity. She's experienced trauma and she's experienced trauma at 51. Yes. Michelle says, toe fungus is synchronistic, hilarious. Okay, that's funny. I'm glad you got that. It's funny. I thought it was pretty funny. Yeah, thank you, Michelle. Here's vulnerable for you. I got worms from my sandbox and biting my fingernail and wanted to die from embarrassment over it. Oh gosh, yes, that's super vulnerable, and no wonder you resonate with the toe fungus. Yes. Nicole says, I've had worms before too. I never discovered the source, but I remember the feeling of shame and embarrassment that came with them. Yeah, those worms are also, that is also an energetic process. Okay, we're manifestors, so you would want to look at that from an energetic point. Okay, great. Yeah, you all are having a good time. Good. Thank you, girls. Those are very good stories. Thank you very much. So let's talk now about the second thing, because I want to keep us moving here. My second favorite way of healing is one that you all know. I know you all know this because most people know this, but I shouldn't assume that everyone knows it, okay? But many of you here are Reiki practitioners, and Reiki is our second healing technique, okay? So if you're a Reiki practitioner already, in the comments, please type and let me know what level you are, all right? So when I was doing this whole idea of the toolbox for the month, I was really having a great time, okay? I made a list of all the modalities that you can have in your toolbox, and I was, doing things like sound healing, smudging, angelic healing, okay? All the different ways, all right? But I wanted to bring in Reiki because it is very popular and it's so easily accessible. You can start to connect with Reiki very early on. You can start using it on yourself. As a matter of fact, that's how it's taught. So you can receive it on yourself, and then as you advance, you can start to use it on other people, okay? And then you can start to even teach it. But Reiki is universal life force energy. It's also unconditional love. It's non-judgmental. And the wonderful thing about Reiki is it doesn't really give a fuck. It doesn't give a care about what you've done or who you are or what you even think it is. It doesn't care, okay? And that's the nature of Reiki. Reiki doesn't care what you think. It's gonna just go in there and just be. It doesn't like you can't tell it what to do. You can't tell it what not to do. And I, as the practitioner, cannot tell it what to do or what not to do. And that's why it's so wonderful. It's just going to go in there and create balance and harmony, okay? And it can restructure, it can reorder your system, all right? And the experience that your client has under Reiki is a feeling of relaxation. And once they start to relax, perhaps they'll have visions or they'll get deep insights. And so this is why it's a wonderful healing experience. It can even help heal your inner child, okay? So the completion process helps you deal with the inner child, and Reiki is a tool that can help you deal with energy and with systems, all right? And energy is kind of obscure, all right? And as a coach, you might be thinking, well, how do I incorporate Reiki into my coaching business? And the way I do it, first of all, when you learn a practice like Reiki, you realize that it is more of a lifestyle. That's not right. I'm saying that wrong. This is the way I did it. When I first learned Reiki, I realized that, gosh, in order to be a great Reiki practitioner, the more access you have to peace, the better practitioner you'll be. It's not really about being a powerful healer. Oh, I'm powerful. That's not what Reiki does. The more genuine access you have to stillness, receptivity, and peace, the better practitioner you are. That is what determines your quality as a Reiki practitioner. And what I learned is that, okay, if that's the case, I want to make Reiki a part of my lifestyle. I want that peacefulness to be accessible. So that's the starting point for me as a life coach, is understanding that I'm a spiritual life coach. I've got a business that I got to run, but I also have to be able to help my clients on a really deep and profound level. And this is where I incorporate the Reiki so that I can show up with Reiki at all of my sessions, okay? Now, Reiki is a great way for those of you who are like me. I'm very human. I know a lot of you all are star seeds and you all are from higher dimensions, okay? You all are of those higher realms. I'm very much an earth woman. I am from earth. I'm human. I'm a humanoid. I'm not a humanoid, I'm a human, okay? And but I happen to be a human who has tremendous access to the higher realms, which is why I'm able to do the work that I'm able to do and create great transformation with people in the 3D world. And this is also why you all hear me saying, yes, do all the divine feminine woo-woo up there stuff, but you also need to be responsible and working this down here, three-dimensional divine masculine stuff, okay? That's why I'm very much into that. So Reiki is a way to stay, for me, for people who are very much in the 3D world, to be connected to the divine, okay? And I think here's one more thing, y'all. You're a spiritual life coach, not a traditional life coach. So you have to have an understanding of energy, of emotions, of the mind, and how to manifest using the principles and the principles and universal principles and universal laws, okay? You've got to be able to know how to do that stuff, you know, to some level, depending on how you're going to build your business. And Reiki is a way for you to connect with those things, all right? But the other thing is, all right, I mean, and this is just kind of like getting super practical. When you are setting up your coaching business and you're setting up your coaching packages, you need to have a structure in your mind about how you're going to get your clients from point A to point B, okay? Their starting point to the end transformed result. And you need to do that with exercises and processes and worksheets and workbooks and sessions, okay? Times when they're going to be working with you and things like that. Now, your Reiki can be integrated in your sessions with your clients, either live or remotely, or you know, on Zoom. Okay, if you can do hands-on, great, or you can do your Reiki session with them while they are, you know, you can send the Reiki session to them to download later. There's so many ways to do it, okay? You would need to incorporate Reiki into your system. That's my point. So I bring Reiki to every every situation, every client, every session, but you can also just formally say, hey, Susan, today we're going to do an hour of Reiki for you, okay? Because I feel like this is what you need in order to be able to integrate the principles that we talked about yesterday, or the shadow work that we did last week. You did a great job with that. Today, we're going to do Reiki to help clear away those, to take that shadow work to the next level. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you all. If you all have any questions, please type your questions into the chat for me. All right, and let me just check in here on my, Lydia says, please type in, Lydia, I'm so sorry that I did not get your message early enough, okay? But I'm glad you found her, Teal Swan. Yes, exactly, you got it. Thank you, darling. And let me check in here on Facebook. Alicia's here. Hey, Alicia. Let's see. Yes, right. You're not okay. Thank you for explaining Reiki. Yes, you're welcome, darling. Thank you for talking about the 3D world. I'm stuck in the feminine. I know a lot of people are stuck in the feminine, and this is why I want to, I was just having a conversation with this today with one of my fellow healers. And boy, we were talking about how it's so easy. And what happens, the thing that stands out for me is this. Very often we say, oh, the divine feminine and the patriarchy. And what we're doing is most people, most spiritual women in particular, don't talk about the divine masculine. They don't understand what it is, and they don't try because they associate the patriarchy or a patriarchal society with the divine masculine, and that's not true. And they think that, oh, the masculine, it's so dark. But I have to remind you that the feminine also has a dark side. The feminine is not all light. We don't, we have anger, we have pain, we have needs and desires that are, we want power. We're not all sweetness and light. That's not the feminine. The feminine is whole, right? So we need to understand that there is a real, the divine masculine and the divine feminine are meant to work together, and we need to learn how to bring them together through ourselves. And it's really, it's a lifelong balancing act, Thank you for that, Alicia. Michelle says she's at a crossroads trying to balance too much, elderly pet, chronic illness, recovery kids. Yeah, very much in feminine energy as well. Yeah. I have romantic thoughts as well for the first time in 13 years, very feminine, stuck there. Yeah, that's beautiful though. It's really good to have those romantic thoughts. And yeah, all the things that go into, challenging us is really powerful. So let's do a quick recap, y'all. The completion process is a great way for you as a spiritual life coach to help your clients deal with the inner child. Reiki is a great way to help your clients deal with their chakras, okay, their energy systems. So chakras, meridians, aura, all right, the flow of lymph through the body, all the subtle energy of the body, Reiki is really, really good for in particular, but you can use it for anything, okay? Anything that's energetic, all right? Now, here's the thing. I want you all to give me a little feedback on this. When I was first starting out as a spiritual life coach, the biggest fear I had was how I was going to know the difference between my egoic self and my higher self. Okay. I was afraid of going into my client sessions and being all in my ego and talking to my clients from my ego, you know, and I was afraid that I would be giving my opinion instead of giving them what they needed, or I would give them what they wanted. I was giving that too, actually. So, you know, feeling fearful about having to deliver bad news, or, you know, trying to people please and trying to give a client what they want. These are things that scared me. I didn't want to be a coach that told the client what they wanted to hear. I wanted to be the coach to tell the client what they needed to hear so that they could transform. Okay. So the other fear I had was of bringing in somebody else's energy into my own energy field. All right. I wanted to feel protected from the pain, even though I didn't mind getting in the dirt with my clients. I did not want to bring my clients into my energy field like that. Okay. And what I also didn't want to do was to be like, oh, I'm going to put up a wall, because I don't do well with walls. I don't succeed when I put up a wall and be like, oh, I'm not going to let them in. That doesn't work for me. So what I learned beautifully, you know, is this thing that I'm going to tell you about now, and it's called atonement. Atonement. And this is a biblical term, atonement, and in biblical terms it means being sorry for your sins, right? Like, I did this thing wrong. I want to atone. So I'm sorry for my sins, and I'm gonna make that up. I'm gonna make it up to you, you know, lady that I hurt. I hurt you. I'm gonna atone for that. So I'm gonna feel regret, like authentic, genuine regret. And I'm gonna do something to make that up to you. And I'm gonna do something to make that up to God. Okay, like that's atonement biblically. And I like that. I like atoning. But there's also something, though, that's a little bit different, because for me, I don't resonate well with seeing myself as a sinner. And that puts me in a place of smallness and insignificance in the eyes of God, because I would never recover from being a sinner, because I'm going to sin, you know? And then to atone and then go out and sin again, that doesn't work for me. So that doesn't work for my mind, okay? And it's not that I'm bashing anybody else's, it's just that doesn't work for me, okay? So I started reading a course in miracles, okay? And I'm sure you all are familiar with A Course in Miracles. If you don't know what it is, let me know, okay, and I'll talk to you about it. But it's a book that, and it's not just a book, it's a book and a course. It's a course written out that you do one chapter every day, okay, or one page every day. And what it does is it helps you detach from your human perception. It helps you stop being human and move into a more expanded God connection, okay? So it teaches you to understand your experiences through the eyes of God, all right? And basically, what it basically teaches you is, hey, stop being your ego and just live and see the world through God's eyes. When you stop being your ego, you stop separating yourself from people. Like, that's her and she did that and they did that. And what it is I and her are one. I and this mouse are one. I and these glasses are one. There's no separation. I am one. I am, right? And what that does is when you start this as a meditative practice, what you find yourself doing is being at one, okay? And that is what atonement, if you look at how it's written, it's A-T, that's sorry. Can Crystalline spell? Yes, she can. Atonement is A-T, that's at, one, O-N-E, M-E-N-T, at one-ment. Atonement is at one-ment. And when you atone in this sense, you're no longer saying, hey, God, I'm separate from you, I'm a sinner. You're up there and I'm down here. I'm naughty, I'm bad, I did all this wrong. What you do is you say, I am not the sin, I am the God within. And what that does for me is it makes me accountable not to the sin, but to the God within. And the God within won't tolerate the sin because the God within has to love. So I have to do right by you by answering to the God within. And so atonement is this third healing process that I use in my coaching business. Now, so how do you use atonement? All right, and if you all have any questions, please type them in and let me just check in and see what you all are talking about here. Let's see. Alicia says, I didn't realize until watching your videos that every person needs a balance of masculine and feminine. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, yep, exactly. Michelle says, I need to atone for my sarcasm. That's funny. Yeah, that is funny. You don't need to atone for that. You just need to surrender to your God self and just let that keep coming because that's funny. So how do you keep it? How do you use atonement? So Jesus and A Course in Miracles is based on the teachings of Jesus, but they are based on the teachings of Jesus, not on the life of Jesus. And Jesus was like the best spiritual life coach because he taught people how to be like him, okay? And his whole thing was, yeah, no, stop focusing on your sin and focus on the divine within. Okay, so that's where I get this from. I'm not just making this up. This is what Jesus is kind of doing. He's like, look, honey, I know that you think you're a leper. I know that I understand that is your human concept, but I'm going to look at you beyond leprosy and I'm going to just see you as the divine light that is the truth of who you are. Okay, so for me, these were his miracles. Okay, we know that these were his miracles. And the miracle was that he was just constantly refusing the ego all the time and choosing to see only the God self. Okay, so he was a miracle worker because he refused to succumb to the devil, which is also the ego. All right. So for me as a spiritual life coach, and the way that I try to teach my life coaching clients and my students, and my students who are enrolled in my certification program, is I teach them how to be accountable to the divine for themselves. And then you just act from that, okay? Your job as a life coach is not to look at your clients in judgment and say, yeah, no, you shouldn't have done that. Okay, that's not helpful to your client. Even if they do something really dumb, that's not helpful for your client, for you to be calling them out saying that was dumb. Okay, what's helpful is for you to say, hey, you're a human having this divine, you're divine having this human experience. Let's see how we can work with that and expand you back into your divine self. This is super compassionate and unconditionally loving. That's what God is. That's what Jesus does. That's what atonement is. Atonement, at one-ment, being at one with your divine self. That's what we're looking for. So you're trying to take your client to the highest level of their existence. So when you say, I have 100% faith in you and in God and in source energy and in the universe, I know that you're whole, okay? When you start with that as the starting point as a life coach, you're taking yourself and your client to the next level, okay? When you don't accept their worthlessness, you don't accept their failures as failures, you are taking your client to the next level. All right. So that's my secret weapon right there. That's the secret sauce, y'all. So I want to just do a last check-in, and I want to remind you all about the Master Shadow Work Healing class. It is called Mastering Shadow Work, okay? And I hope that you'll join me for that next Thursday, Thursday the 15th, all right? You have one day. It's $98 right now. It goes up to $250 after that. So sign up now. Okay, you got one more day, then the price goes up. I look forward to seeing you all at that, of course, but also in the League of Badass Butterflies, and yes, in next Tuesday as well. Sorry, guys, I just had a little bit of a brain fart. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you all next week. All right. Crystalline is going to go ahead and sign off because I think I'm sleepy. It's dark. Okay. Why is it so dark at 5:30? Why is it pitch black at 5:30? I don't know how I feel about this. I'm sleepy. Okay. All right. Okay, you guys, I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.